Swadika, good morning and welcome to Newsline. My name is Cholapansa Narula. Thank you very much for joining us. It's Monday, March the 7th. Let's take a look at today's top news. Let's begin with today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. The Prime Minister has urged members of the press to always put the nation's interests first and strictly follow a code of ethics. Government spokesperson Major General Sansern Kaew said General Prayut Chan-o-cha, Prime Minister and head of the National Council for Peace and Order, had called on all journalists to uphold national interest in their reporting. He said the Prime Minister wanted the media to play a role in national development and create a positive image of the country. The Prime Minister said members of the press are considered watchdogs and the nation is considered their home. He concluded that their responsibility is to watch over the nation and inform the public and the government of possible threats. He added that journalists should always be impartial, uphold ethics, and foster unity in the society. Meanwhile, Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha has expressed concerns over a recent boat explosion that took place in Sansat Canal. Government spokesperson Major General Sansern Kaew said initial investigations indicated that it was a gas leak that caused the massive explosion. According to the report, witnesses saw smoke and smelled gas at the rear of the boat. The spokesperson also affirmed that it was an accident, not a deliberate act of terrorism. In the meantime, the Prime Minister voiced his concern over the incident and urged all related authorities to prevent similar incidents by taking precautionary measures, making sure that all public vehicles are in good condition. The explosion, which occurred in the engine of the boat, left 66 passengers injured. Deputy Prime Minister Wisanu Kruangam has called a meeting on power decentralization in Chonburi province with the chiefs of local administrative bodies from different provinces. The meeting was intended to discuss ways to strengthen the local administration organizations in order to better answer the needs of their residents. According to the Deputy Prime Minister, power decentralization is one of the main strategies for the country's administration. The government issued the Decentralization Act in 1999. The Office of the Decentralization to Local Government Organization Committee is assigned to map out plans and policies for involved agencies. So far, the government has transferred over 200 projects to local administrative organizations and has provided them with 28% of its revenue. The government also organizes a number of activities, such as an award ceremony for outstanding organizations to urge them to improve their performance. The Office of the Prime Minister is inspecting the implementation of government policies in Nakhon Nayok province. Inspector General of the Prime Minister's Office, Pairod Atraksa, is leading a team of Inspectors General from various ministries to Nakhon Nayok to follow up on the implementation of government policies, including the policy to improve living standards, waste management, and environmental protection. The team is also there to monitor the spending of state funds and assess the performance of local offices in putting forth guidelines for area development, which were handed down by the central administration. Mr. Pairod and his entourage took the opportunity to visit a seafood processing plant and local cooperative. The National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, has scheduled a session to deliberate the amendment of the interim charter to pave the way for the public referendum. NLA President Ponpet Vichit Cholachai has issued an order to call for sittings on March 10th and 11th to discuss various issues, including an amendment to the 2014 Interim Constitution, which was proposed by the Cabinet and the National Council for Peace and Order. In addition to the Interim Charter Amendment, the NLA will consider setting up a committee to conduct background checks for all nominees of the Anti-Money Laundering Board and deliberate a draft amendment to the Minerals Act, which was submitted by the Cabinet. Other agendas include questioning the Prime Minister regarding measures to prevent and fight fires
in high-rise buildings and reviewing a report on measures to protect and uphold the royal institution. Meanwhile, the Constitution Drafting Commission reported that there are no plans to revise provisions in the draft charter related to the elections of members of parliament and senators during its upcoming retreat. CDC spokesperson Udom Rathamrit said that the charter drafters have received a lot of suggestions about MPs and senators asking to revise the election methods. Mr. Udom said that the CDC has not discussed this issue or reached any conclusion. Therefore, there will be no changes to the original provisions in the draft charter. Instead, he said the charter drafters will likely work on the transitional provisions which relate to the issue. The CDC spokesman went on to say that the charter drafters are determined to deliver a constitution that will be widely accepted by the public, while affirming that the CDC is independent from any political influence when it comes to revising the draft charter.
According to the Ministry of Commerce, the hot weather has driven up prices of consumer products in the capital. Ministry spokesperson Banjongchit Angsu Singh, along with officials from the Department of Internal Trade, paid a visit to shops and stores at Ratchawat Market in Bangkok. During the inspection, Ms. Banjongchit found that prices of meat, vegetables and fruits had increased slightly due to the warmer weather conditions. The price of coriander has increased from 50 baht per kilogram to 70 baht per kilogram. The price of cowpeas has risen from 70 baht per kilo to 80 baht per kilo. Chicken is now being sold from 70 to 80 baht per kilo. Ms. Banjongchit also examined weight scales used at the market and urged sellers not to take advantage of their consumers. The Stock Exchange of Thailand has held an investment fair at Kasetsart University Sri Racha campus in Chonburi province. The fair featured various activities aimed at educating the public on financial planning. The Stock Exchange of Thailand also invited experts to share their experience and tips for this year's investments. Chonburi was chosen as the venue of the fair since the province has the highest stock investment in the east. Chonburi's stock trade value surpassed 176 billion baht last year. The fair is one of sets activities to be held across the country, offering alternatives to financial planning to various groups of investors. The Ministry of Energy and the National Research Council of Thailand have jointly organized an innovation fair at Klong Padum Krung Kasem in Bangkok. The fair features a wide range of energy innovations and products, as well as a variety of activities such as a display of futuristic energy products, video clips, and photo competitions. The event continues until March 27th. Fairgoers have the opportunity to see new technologies in operation and shop for discount electrical appliances. The event also offers free trips on electric buses, which run from Hua Lamphong Bangkok train station to Klong Padum Krung Kasem. The event aims to foster business partnerships between producers and retailers, enable the public to obtain quality products at affordable prices, and make Klong Padum Krung Kasem a new tourist spot in the capital city. The Kalasin Provincial Public Relations Office held a seminar for local journalists on the occasion of Thai Journalist Day. The opening ceremony was chaired by Kalasin Governor Vinay Wityanukoon. The activity is intended to offer local journalists in different areas an opportunity to meet and share their ideas on news coverage and media development. Mr. Vinay said relevant agencies were promoting tourism and expediting public utility development. The governor asked the media to focus their news coverage on these two issues. Meanwhile, Deputy Director General of the Government Relations Public Relations Department, or PRD, Jamlong Singtongam, urged local media to help publicize the government's policies, adding that journalists have an important role to play in fostering public understanding of the government. And that's it for Thailand Moves Forward. Up next, we have more news for you coming right here on Newsline. But first, let's have a look at the exchange rates and some of the commodity prices.
ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. Due to recurring natural disasters in the ASEAN region, the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management has become the main authority to coordinate emergency help during disasters. Moreover, there is background of cooperation in terms of environmental sustainability and restoration of natural forest land to reduce the impact of disasters. One vision, one identity, one community.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. The Ministry of Tourism and Sports has organized the Thai-Laotian Sticky Rice Almsgiving Ceremony on the bank of the Mekong River in a project to strengthen ties between the two countries. An almsgiving ceremony for 60 Buddhist monks was led by the revered พระอาจารย์ ว.วชิรเมธี In attendance were Tourism and Sports Minister กอบการ วัฒนวรางกูล Chiang Rai Governor บุญส่ง เตชะมณีสถิต heads of government units as well as Thai and Laotian Buddhists. After the ceremony, more than 1,000 cyclists rode across the fourth Thai-Lao Friendship Bridge to Laos, Bo Kaeo, to hand out blankets and supplies to Laos people. And down south, the Nakhon Yala municipality collaborated with the Tourism Authority of Thailand and the Southern Border Provinces Administrative Organization in arranging the 30th ASEAN Red Whiskered Bulbul contest. People from Yala and nearby provinces brought their red whiskered bulbul to join in the contest held at the city's Youth Center Stadium. The event is part of the 31st ASEAN Zebra Dove contest held to promote tourism and stimulate economies in the three southern border provinces. The Nakhon Yala municipality has raised the standards of the contest for more than 1,100 birds participating in the event this year. On March 9th, Thais in Thailand and many countries in the region will have the opportunity to witness a solar eclipse, which will appear differently to each region of the country. Today, we're joined by Dr. Utain Sawangwit, researcher from the National Astronomical Research Institute of Thailand, who is here to talk about this natural phenomenon. Swadika, Dr. Utain. Thank you very much for joining us after having recently landed from Chiang Mai to Bangkok. Now, yes. For some of our younger viewers and those that have not seen a solar eclipse before, could you explain what causes the eclipse?
Yes, the eclipse is a natural phenomenon. This happened because of the alignment of the position of the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon. So, simply said, it's basically the blocking of the sunlight by the Moon for a short period of time. Particular place on Earth will be blocked by the moon shadow, and that gives us what we call solar eclipse.
I see. Now, this solar eclipse, aside from being exciting and awe-inspiring, also has value for astronomy. What does the eclipse mean for astronomers?
Yes, for solar eclipse, usually it happens around twice a year. But usually it happens on different places and different parts of the world. For this time, it happened very close to Thailand. It's a total solar eclipse, which means that the distance of the moon from the Earth and the distance of the sun from the Earth will be exactly in such a way that the apparent size of these two objects on the sky will be exactly the same size, which means that the moon will completely block out the sunlight, and that's what we call the total solar eclipse, which happens something like once every 2 years on average. For this time, it happened. The actual total solar eclipse will happen in Indonesia, and will be also partly observed in the Pacific. In Thailand, we only see partial eclipse, and in the southern part, we'll be able to see more. Basically, the portion of the sun that will be blocked out by the moon will be bigger than the rest of the country, whereas in the north will be somewhat smaller. And if you miss this solar eclipse, let's say in Thailand, you'll be, if you want to observe another partial eclipse, that would be another 3 years. But for total solar eclipse, that would be in the next 54 years, so something like in the year 2070. So for some people, that would be quite a long time. In terms of the astronomical significance, of course, there are many people try to study the event of solar eclipse. For example, during the totality of the eclipse, you could also observe the corona, which constitutes the atmosphere of the sun, that you wouldn't be otherwise be able to observe due to the brightness of the sun itself. And also many other interesting phenomena that people could be interested in studying. For example, in biology, people who are interested in animal behavior, in terms of what happened when animals experience temporary darkness of the sky. What do they do? How do they react? Do they go back to their nest? And then afterwards, in a few minutes, what happens, for example? That's kind of the thing that many people are interested in.
I see.
In studying. Yeah.
What time exactly on March 9th will we all in Thailand be able to watch the eclipse? And for how long?
Yeah, as I said, the eclipse will be a partial solar eclipse. It will, for the local time, we will start to see the first contact, which means that the shadow of the moon starts to move into the sun, roughly around 6:20 or 6:30. This is Bangkok time. And then the shadow will start to move in. So what you observe would be similar to you would observe with the crescent moon. So instead of having the full circle of the sun, you see only part of the sun with the shadow being blocked by the moon. And if you live in the south, for example, the most southern part of Thailand, Ampere Betong, Yala province, you'll be seeing the shadow, the maximum level when the moon blocks the sunlight. It's something like 70% of the sun. As you move further up north in Bangkok, you expect to see the maximum shadow something like 40%, and then decrease as you go further north up to something like Chiang Mai or Chiang Rai. You only have 27% in the case of Chiang Mai. This will happen at the maximum blocking of the sunlight will happen at something like 7:30, and then since after that the shadow will start to move off from the sun, and it will finish roughly around 8:30 in the morning.
I see. Now I understand that Indonesia will be broadcasting this solar eclipse live on television. Can Thailand also watch this broadcast?
Yes. For Narit, we have the live broadcast on our website. If you go to www.narit.or.th, you will have a choice of actually 5 to 6 locations to watch from. In Thailand, we have 5 locations. One in Bangkok, in Benjakiti Park, near the Sirikit Convention Center. And also in the north, we have people from our institute setting up equipment for general public on top of Central Festival building. In northeast, we have our regional observatory situated in the Trinity University of Technology in Nakhon Ratchasima, and also in Chachoengsao, this is also our regional observatory. And then in the south, in Songkhla province, we set up equipment for general public also, and also to give ideas and talk to public about the size of the solar eclipse at the Samila Beach.
Now, Dr. Retain, as for suggestions or tips to those who want to enjoy the solar eclipse or the partial eclipse that we'll be seeing here in Thailand, will there be any suggestions as to how to watch it without hurting the eyes?
Sorry, I got some noise outside that kind of I couldn't hear you very well.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
The last question is, would you have any tips or suggestions for those wanting to catch a glimpse of the eclipse but without hurting their eyes?
Oh, yes. Okay, that's very important point. That the people who would like to see the event, see the solar eclipse, they definitely should not look at the sun directly. Okay, that would be very dangerous. Even though some big portion of sunlight will be blocked by the moon, it's still very dangerous. So they should not look directly at the sun. NARIT has distributed numbers of spatial viewing kind of glasses to look at the sun. These are made from polymer. It's a black polymer to help to filter out sunlight and make it safer to look at the sun during the eclipse. If you couldn't get hold of one of those, you could try to view the sun or the solar eclipse in the sort of indirect way by using the image that reflects off of the sun onto a wall, let's say, or a piece of white paper. You can use something like a thick piece of paper that not transparent, and just make a hole, a small hole. This is a principle we call the pinhole camera, and then you adjust the paper in the back, basically, to adjust the distance to get a better focus view, a sharp image. That image basically gives you an image of the sun. When the eclipse takes place, the disk of the sun, you will see that the sunlight will start to be blocked, and you see solar eclipse taking place on a piece of paper, let's say white paper, or on the wall. Apart from that, if you happen to have one of those tools used by people working with metal that help to block out the light as they work, they can use that also. But the number of the glass that used to help to block out the light needs to be number 14 and above to ensure that it blocks out enough sunlight. Right. And also, other thing that people can use is the X-ray film, but it needs to be unused one. The used one is not good enough because some part of it will have a lighter patch, and that will allow sunlight, too much sunlight, and that will be dangerous. Also.
All right, Dr. Utain, thank you very much for sharing with us these important tips.
Right, my pleasure.
Thank you. And that was Dr. Utain Sawang, researcher from NARIT. If you want more information on the upcoming solar eclipse, you can have a look at their website, which is narit.co.th. Once again, never look directly at the sun without protection. Okay, that's the end of today's edition of Newsline. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's end with some pictures from a Som Tam festival held in Ratchaburi province. I'm Cholapansan Rula. Please join us tomorrow. Swadee ka.